Hi everyone, it's Rosemary, and today I'm going to be painting this sugar skull. Okay, and it's a bank. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to pull out the stopper out of the bottom before you paint. Okay, and then we're going to base coat the entire piece in white. Oh, I can't get it out because my fingers are not working well, and I will leave it in there, but you should take it out before you paint. So even though the piece is white, it's a completely different white than when you paint it with the white acrylic that I gave you. And so this video is for all of you who picked up the kits at the library, and I will go over what I did with the piece, but just remember it's your piece and you can do whatever you would like with it. But you should have a base coat on there first, and all the other colors are painted on top of the white. So I will start here and put a thin coat. Now the color goes very far. If you put it on too heavy, it's not going to dry, and then you won't be able to put the other colors on top of it. So on everything, nice and smooth, keep pulling it out until you get rid of all the paint that's in the brush and all the brush strokes that first went on with the amount of paint that you put on the brush, because when you put on an amount of paint like that on the brush, when you first put it on, it's going to be thick. So you want to pull it all out. Make it nice and smooth. And the whole idea is not to have any white spots showing. So you look at it this way, and then you turn it upside down and look at it the other way, and that's how you can see if you have any missed spots. I could have done this before I started the video, but I just wanted to give you a little education on putting your colors on nice and smooth. Okay, you see I keep going back and forth and making sure that it's almost painted dry before I dip for more paint. And then I move on. And you're home, so you can allow a little bit of drying time in between. So after you do the white, give it a few minutes to dry before you start putting your other colors on. So if you put your colors on and they stay wet looking, just keep pulling them out until you lose that shine. And when you lose that shine, that pretty much means that it's drying. Okay. I can almost touch it immediately and not have anything on my finger. Wiggle it in the crevices to make sure you get into all the little grooves, especially in the teeth. You know, where I first put it on, it's just about dry. But, you know, it's always wise to give it a few minutes of drying time in between your colors. Otherwise, if it's wet, if the white is wet, you'll be picking it up in the brush with the next color that you do. So you want to make sure that it's dry. Mine is a little bit wet yet, so I could feel it going on my hands. And like I said, you're home, so let it dry before you start putting on the other colors. Okay, so I think I'm just about done. And that one little well of white paint that I have here, that one little well, did the whole piece. So if you're using a lot of the white, you might be putting it on too heavy or not spreading it out enough. So pull it out. Okay, now just smooth that out around here. And have a water bowl handy. Put your brush in the water, wash it out. I just usually swish it in the water, take some of that white paint out of it. I'm not going to be using this brush anymore. And just lay it across the top of the bowl until I get a chance to go wash it. Now, I've chosen turquoise, purple, and red, and I believe that's what I gave you in your strips of paint. I might have given you other colors also, I'm not sure. So just open up your colors, maybe one at a time so you don't contaminate any of them. And just put my finger right in the red. I'm going to work out of the caps. I'm just going to give you an idea of what I did. I don't have to paint this whole piece while you're watching because it's just quite obvious that it's just filling in the detail. When you do dots, you can do these red dots with the back end of your brush, but don't do them until the end, because when you do dots with the back end of a brush, the paint accumulates thicker and it will take a lot longer to dry. So put them on at the end, because if you do that and then you go to lean here to paint your purple or whatever other color you're painting, you will smear the dots. They take a little while to dry. So you can start wherever you'd like. I'll start on the flowers on the eyes, and I'll do them in the turquoise like I did here. So when I paint from the outer edge in so that I don't get it where I don't want it. So just come into the center. If you get a little bit on the center, it's okay because the purple will cover it. So start at the top and pull down into the shape of the petals of the flower. So I keep turning my piece so that I can go from the top toward the center. Okay. Now you have 2 brushes in your kit, so you use whichever brush that you're comfortable with. I would say probably the smaller one will work for mostly everything. But you have the bigger one to do the white and the smaller one to do the little sections that we're doing here. So now I'll do the other flower. And again, from the top down. When you have the pointy brush, I think you can get a better edge than I'm getting with this brush. So if you go out of the lines, don't try to cover it while the color is wet. Just let it dry, and then you go back over it after the color is dry. Because if you do it while it's wet, you'll just mush the 2 colors together, and it will be kind of messy looking. All right, I'm not going to paint this whole entire piece while you're watching because I think you get the idea. This is pretty much how I did the whole piece. And then I have the hearts up here you can do in red. I did them in the turquoise, the back. I did this in red. I did purple branches, and I did the green, the turquoise leaves. I think the leaves should be done in the green, the turquoise. So I'm going to take my smaller brush like you have. And again, I start at the tip and just scoop down and scoop down. Maybe it's hard to see. See if I can do one with it facing you. So we'll start here. It's hard to work upside down. Do one side of the leaf, do the other side of the leaf, and then fill in the center. Okay, may not be the neatest, but you can take your time. When you have a little area to paint like this, don't put a lot of paint in your brush because where would you spread it? And then if there's too much paint, it's never going to dry. So just put a little bit into your pointy brush. Go one side, go the other side, and then fill in the center. Okay, so I'm not going to do the whole entire piece, but you get the idea. And I also would do a second coat because on top of the white, the first coat you can see through, but let it dry. Do your whole piece once and then go back and do it a second time. And don't do the dots until the very end. Okay, let's do a little bit of purple. I'll do some purple on some of these scrolls. And the same thing, put a little bit of paint in your brush, scoop down to the point. And you also could use a second coat on that too. And I did that little scroll. So you'll do your scrolls, and you don't have to follow my colors, okay? I want you to be able to see what I did, but you can do whatever you would like. I just wanted to show you one more thing. And that is how I did the purple in the teeth. And you can choose whichever color you would like. See how the purple is in between? You can add water to your brush. Clean it out really well. Add some water to your brush. Pick up a little more water and float the color in there. See, it's not too wet because you don't want it to be running down the piece. And then when that dries, I'll dry brush the white over the top. let that dry and see if I can let it dry and show you what I mean about dry brushing. But with a little water, it becomes like a wash and it's not solid. And then you can wipe your brush out and just pull it while it's wet and pull out some of the color that's on the raised area and let just the purple flow into the crevices. Unless you want to sit there with the little brush and then you could paint lines. You can also do that and paint the lines right in between. I did the gold tooth with a pen, like a Pilot pen or a Sharpie in gold. So you can do that if you have a pen. If not, you can do it in one of the colors. All right, so as soon as this is dry, I will dry brush the white over it. I'm just cleaning up a little bit where I went out of the lines. I'm using a little water with a damp brush and just running it across the bottom to clean up where I went below the teeth. Okay, and then you can dry brush the white over it. I don't know if I can do it now. While this is wet, we'll try. Put a little bit of white in your brush, take it out on a paper towel. You don't want a lot of paint in your brush. And just highlight. A little wet yet, so it's really not adhering that well. I just want you to get the idea of what I did. Now, when I do this, I'm not going into the crevices. I'm just kind of skirting with lay the brush flat. You could use your square brush for that. Lay your brush flat and just hit the raised areas. Okay? And now you have just the purple in the teeth. Okay? Now, in the nose, I'll do a little bit of red so you can see how I do the red. And you can switch back and forth between your brushes. I just smeared my whole purple on the top because you have to let things dry. Okay, so the nose, I'm going to do the inner part of the nose in the red. So I kind of put it in and scoop it around. And the only other thing other than painting the colors on the piece is to put a little glitter when you're done. I marked on your strip of paints, I marked the one strip that is the glitter. I wrote on the end. It's the last one in the strip. I wrote glitter on it. And you can just paint. I'll just show you what I did on here. Boy, did I make a mess. I have some glitter. I don't know if you could see it. See, I did it on the hearts. And you can do it on whatever you'd like to do it on. I have it on the nose. I have it on the flowers. Okay, and then when the middle flower there was, that big flower was dry, I went back in and I did a second coat, but I also did a center in purple, but you can do whatever colors you'd like. If you have any paints at home, these are water-based acrylics. The paint company that I use is a ceramic company, so you're not going to find this in any stores that I know of. Maybe Amazon. I'm using Mako acrylics. I'm using turquoise and purple and white. The purple is Dusty Violet. And the red is Barnyard Red from Duncan. But since Mako is now manufacturing Duncan, it's all pretty much the same company. They're still putting it out under 2 brands, though. Okay, and then I put the purple in the center. And like I said, you just keep going over them and over them to as many coats as you want until you like the way it looks. All right, and like I said, you can do the gold tooth, or you can do a purple tooth, or you can do a red tooth. I'll do a red tooth. As long as the colors are dry, you can put one on top of the other. The only color that you're putting water in your brush is to do the wash in the teeth. Look, I like his red tooth also. Cute, right? So it's your piece. I always tell everyone at all of my classes, you have to take this home with you. You have to like it. It doesn't have to be what I did. So be creative and have fun and have a happy Halloween. Thank you for watching my video.